到台阶这边要小心注意，好，慢慢走，慢慢走。
Byl jsi papa?
Ještě ne, já budu potom. Já budu teď pomoct.
Right with the seat.
그래?
only surviving arch of the Judith Bridge from 1169, named after Queen Judith.
Okay.
Flight time expected 5 hours and 7 minutes.
The drain is a part of the self-sensation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.